you were young once. And young people now are looking at the elders. They are looking at those who went before. They are looking at the people who have offered themselves up to be their representatives, and they are also making choices. And when you chase people, emulate. When you chase people who simply, all they've done is made a different choice to you, what you're telling the young people is that if they don't agree with you, you will chase them. What you are telling young people is if they choose differently to you, they are not worthy to be in your presence. And I don't want to live in a Tobago where that becomes the norm. I do not want to live in a Tobago where, because our elders made decisions 30, 40 years ago, and young people choose to make different decisions this morning or today, that these elders will abandon their responsibilities to these young people to continue to provide advice, to continue to provide covering, because prayers are important. And you should not be selective in your praying. You should pray for everybody. So today is Fight the Power Fridays, people. I just had to say that because the roots that I have, they're from Palativier. I have to shout out the Boris clan from Palativier, and those of you who left the countryside and established your families all over Tobago. You can't stray from foundation. And I'm proud that I come from a family where we have respect for elders. And my family they have persons on all sides of the divide, the political divide. But they never forget that we are family at the end of the day. And that most everybody in Tobago who have lived here and grow here, they are related in some way, whether it be by blood or by marriage. Let's fight the real power that needs fighting at this time. Yeah? Let's fight the people who want to entrench themselves in the seat of power in this country, and we know they don't have the best interests of people at heart. Let us fight that power, because they come to you and they tell you, what can 2 seats do in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago? Let's start the discussion there. The numbers to text are 734-6355. Today is Fight the Power Fridays, because the idea is the only way that you can fight. One of the ways that you can fight is through education. So something was brought to my attention yesterday, because the narrative that is being pushed is, what can 2 seats do in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago? And Tobagonians, don't get it twisted. They have already started to infect you with a defeatist mentality. Rosa Parks was but one woman, and all she simply did was sit on the bus. That's what she did. And by sitting on the bus, she sparked a revolution. Don't let anybody tell you that the smallest action does not have the largest of consequences. In mathematics, 2 is less than 39. But Tobagonians, I want you to understand that in the unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago, 2 should equal 39. They talk about equality of status. They talk about affording Tobagonians the privilege that they have enjoyed for years. They talk about us now being allowed the opportunity to elevate ourselves to be their equal. It is no longer one behind the other, but side by side, that we're actually living out the words of our national anthem. Side by side we stand, but they're coming to tell you that 2 seats can do nothing. They're coming to tell you that 2 seats are equivalent to nothing. They're coming to tell you that 2 seats cannot make the difference. And I'm here to tell you this morning that 2 seats can make the difference. I'm telling you that 2 seats can force 39 parliamentarians to listen to Tobagonians, to listen to what we have been through, to listen to our concerns, to listen to our plight, to listen to our history, and respect us in our space. And allow us this simple opportunity, all Tobagonians have ever wanted. They've only just wanted the opportunity to live good. When I speak to people on the road, nobody has asked me for $1 million for a vote yet. You know why? Tobagonians do not want $1 million to vote for anybody. You know what they want? They want to be able to have good jobs and be passionate about the thing that they get paid to do. They want good health care. They want an education system that works for their children. They want good roads. They want access to water to be able to bathe and cook and clean. They want access to opportunities for their children. They want to feel safe in their communities. They want to see the island progress. They want Tobago to generate income. They don't want to feel like if they are begging. That is what Tobagonians want. That is what we have always wanted. And we have entrenched, we have given away our power to persons who did not have our best interests at heart. We have continuously given away our power to people who only show up once every election cycle to discredit anybody else who thinks that they can do better than them. That is what they do. They will judge you, but they will never ask to be held by the same standards that they judge you by. They have been asking us to tell them where the money coming from to fix people's roof. We are a party that is merely 8 months old. 8 months old. The PDP had its election in November of 2019. We are 8 months old. The PNM is not God and they are not the government. And I'm saying to you this morning, do not ask for our receipts if you're not willing to show yours. You are the ones who said that you would bring campaign finance legislation to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. We are now in another election season. You have dissolved the Parliament and you brought nothing to the people. So if you are willing to bring your receipts for the last 60 years, we will gladly bring our receipts for the last 7 months. Do not force, do not try to hold anybody else to a standard that you have no intention of holding yourselves to. That is being a bully. Listen, have no do as I say and not as I do. That does not work here. It doesn't work in a democracy. Because accountability is one of the important hallmarks of democracy. But yet you do not want to be accountable to the people. Fight the power. Fight the people who are in power, who have entrenched themselves, who do not want to answer to you. That is what we have to fight. We have to fight against this ideal that Tobago or certain parts of Trinidad belong to one political party. That is not true. Because Tobago people, the people of Tobago, just as any other place that is founded on democracy, the people of Tobago have the right to choose. And they simply want to be able to choose peacefully. We are a peace-loving people. We are a long-suffering people. That is who we are. We would give people endless chances to demonstrate to us their intent. But 20 years down the road, in a THA that now has been relegated to a parlor, it has been relegated to a corner bacchanal party. An institution that our leaders fought and bled and died for is now being looked at as a noisy classroom with no supervision. That is what we have done. And Tobagonians, I want you to understand exactly how far we have fallen. Take some time, go on the Parliament website, pull up the Hansard. They have records from 2020 right back to, I think, 1987. put in a search, put in A.N.R. Robinson, debate on Tobago Autonomy Bill 1996, the THA Act, where Mr. Robinson made mention of the fact in that debate, because they brought a motion to the parliament, the then opposition. This happened in 1996, February of 1996 to be exact. The opposition brought a motion, and the motion was to recommit to the unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago. And the Honorable deceased Patrick Manning spoke about his love for Tobago and all the plans they had for Tobago, and by this time they had already been voted out. The UNC was in government, the UNC NAR was in government. And Mr. A.N.R. Robinson in his contribution alluded to the fact, all this love that you had for Tobago, and all this time you had a majority in parliament, and you never fixed the people of Tobago business. You dissolved our parliament and silenced our voices, essentially. That was in 1995. This took place when the snap election was called. The snap election was called, and it killed the Tobago Autonomy, that act, and left it for another government to bring home. And even with a majority in government at the time, they did nothing. And they're coming in 2020 again, 25 years down the road, to tell you that they failed once again, that they could not bring it home, and they had the numbers. And if 39 parliamentarians in Trinidad, in central government, truly care for Tobago and truly love Tobago and truly want to see Tobago stand on its own and take its place nationally, regionally, internationally, why would 39 parliamentarians vote against a bill to give Tobagonians the opportunity to become self-actualized? That is the power we have to fight. They have the power of numbers, but we have the power of knowledge. We have the power of youth. We have the power of elders. We have the power of our communities. We have the power of struggle. We know where we came from, and we know where we want to go. That is what we have to fight. That they hold their numbers over our heads year in, year out, election cycle in and election cycle out, and Tobago can't breathe. That is what we are fighting. That they have to understand that they live in a place where at any time, day or night, they can walk out the road and get transportation to probably any part of Trinidad. That in Tobago, if you are not in certain places by a certain time, you cannot get transportation. You will stand up hours waiting. That they have the privilege of still having access to private health care, so that if they don't choose to go to their public institutions, if you can pay, you have all the services available to you and your family. That they have all of the educational institutions resident in Trinidad, so that whatever you want to study, except rocket science, that somebody who wants to study to be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, you want to do environmental sciences, you want to study linguistics, you want to do international relations, you want to study politics, you want to do agriculture, whatever it is you want to do, you have the opportunity to choose from any number of institutions that offer themselves as places of learning. That somebody in Tobago has to uproot themselves from their homes, from their families, from their way of life. And they have to leave to access those opportunities. That is the power we fight against. That privilege that they have taken for granted, year in, year out, election cycle in, election cycle out. Tobago is a playground for them. When the jamming get too hot down the road, they come over here. They come to our lovely beaches. They enjoy our hospitality. They are in our homes for harvest, and we welcome them with open arms, and we have no problem. All we want to do is be just like you. All we want to know is that we have access to the same things that you have access to. The things that you take for granted are a God sent for us. That is the power that we fight against. And it shouldn't be like that. It should never be like that. Because in 2020, Tobago is still crying out for basic things. In 2020, Tobago is still not respected in this unitary partnership. Because it's supposed to be a partnership. Because I am pretty certain that Tobagonians sat in front of their TVs and watched the goings-ons in Mova and Laventille and these places. And Tobagonians have deep roots in these places too, eh? A number of Tobagonians used to go to Trinidad and work, and some of the places that they settled very early was in Laventille and Mova and these places. So a lot of Tobagonians have family down there. And I'm pretty certain it hurt the heart of Tobagonians to see where people reach when they feel they have no other place to go. They feel like if their backs are against the wall. They feel as if they have no choice but to act out, and to act out in a way that will get attention. And I'm saying that Tobagonians, we don't fight like that. We don't fight like that, but don't push us. Do not push us. Because one thing we do is that we quietly exercise our franchise. If we feel that you are bullying us, if we feel that you're trampling us, if we feel that you're choking us, we will simply remove you in the most legal way possible. And it will be done with no fanfare. Previous opposition parties know what that feels like. 2013 THA election will go down in history, where Tobagonians, when they felt cornered, when they saw things happening that they did not like in their space, when they felt that people were invading their space and spaces, they did what they had to do. They voted. And this time around, they will do the same thing. I have faith that my Tobagonian people are listening and they are watching. They are watching. 39 parliamentarians in Trinidad can fix the business of Trinidad, and they will never need 2 seats in Tobago to agree with them. That is how the Constitution is made up. And maybe one of the reasons why they don't want to give Tobago the autonomy that we have been clamoring for is that it would expose a greater need for constitutional reform. And that is something that only comes up ever so often, maybe around an election time, or maybe when they want to throw jabs at each other and say, well, you didn't fix it. But they didn't fix it neither. Nobody wants to fix it. It's a hot potato. Because a constitution that was written in 1962 and revised in 1976 may not be totally applicable in 2020. Let us talk, let us have that conversation. That they're afraid that giving Tobago its attendant rights, powers, privileges, and authorities would expose the need for wider constitutional reform across Trinidad and Tobago to address the new realities, to address a post-COVID world, to address how we look at each other, to address how we relate to one another. The beautiful thing about this Twin Island Republic is that we are opposites and opposites attract. And I think that is our strongest selling point. That Trinidad is the hustle and bustle and the business center. And Tobago is the quiet, laid-back, relaxed, beautiful, unspoiled. And together we make the best partnership. But it cannot be the best partnership if one partner is mistreating the other. It cannot be the best partnership where one partner is reaping all the benefits of the partnership and the other is struggling. What kind of partnership is that? When this is supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. And I'll say good morning to Lisa Akwi. Your father, Vernon Akwi, taught me science in Standard 5, Scarborough RC School. So when I talk about relationships, this is directly from his notes. When this should be a symbiotic relationship, we have a parasitic relationship going on. This is a parasitic relationship. Because 39 parliamentarians in Trinidad are sucking the soul of Tobago. That too, in their mind and in their hearts, should never equal 39. Where we going with that? What 2 seats could do? Let me take what we get, eat with biscuit and shut we mouth. That's what we're being told. That's what we're being told every day, that we are not good enough, that we shouldn't have dreams, that we shouldn't have hopes, that we shouldn't have aspirations, that we shouldn't want more, that we shouldn't value ourselves higher than the value that others have placed upon us. That's what we're being told. We need to fight the power. We need to fight the power because they have entrenched the power in their hands. That is what they have done. You notice I'm not talking PDP, PNM, UNC this morning. I'm talking Tobago, Trinidad, because the seat of power lies in Trinidad. 39 seats versus 2. And it doesn't matter who Tobago joins with. It doesn't matter who Tobago collaborates with. It doesn't matter if they don't want to hear us, they will silence us. But you know what? With 2 seats that do not belong to either government or opposition, we have a very, very, very real opportunity to expose them for who and what they are. Because when 2 persons, 2 independent voices in a parliament, when one person moves a motion and the other person seconds the motion, we force the debate to happen. We are forcing you to talk about Tobago's business. We are forcing you to tell us why. Simply why. Why haven't you settled this autonomy issue? Why haven't you gotten on board with the notion that Tobago needs to become its higher self? Tell us why. When you have a prime minister saying to us that it needs a 3/5 majority, and he doesn't think that he would get the support, it means that you're implying that there are a bunch of parliamentarians on the other side who do not believe that Tobago should progress. And I don't want to believe that. I want them to tell me that. I want them to stand up in the parliament and say to the nation why they do not want to support Tobago in its quest to become its higher self. I want them to tell us why. And after they tell us why, because the debate would be long and they would bring all the reasoning behind what they did and what has happened and what didn't happen and why it didn't happen. Let them tell us why. And when it's put to the vote, let us see who is standing in defense of Tobago. Let us see who truly loves Tobago. Let us see who has Tobago's interests at heart. Let us see. Come, let we see. Let us see who would use the power of their numbers to keep us silenced. Let us see who would use the numbers and they're privileged to keep us backward. Let us see who they are. Let the mask fall off. Let Tobagonians look on. All of you, wherever you are, in Tobago, in Trinidad, across the region, internationally, let Tobagonians get answers finally. Let Tobagonians be told why an MP in Superior is against autonomy. Let Tobagonians be told that an MP in Arima is against autonomy for Tobagonians. Let Tobago be told that an MP in Diego Martin is against autonomy for Tobago. Explain to us why. And after you've explained to us why, and we put it to a vote, because that is what our debate is about. Our debate is about presenting viewpoints. And the opportunity for the debate allows persons to hear what are your thoughts, what is your thinking, so that we know where you're coming from. Because Tobago people want understanding. We want to understand. We understand that it takes time. We understand that there is a process. But this is 44 years down the road. How long again must Tobago wait? How long again must Tobago wait for somebody to put Tobago's business front and center? It is 24 years after Act 40 of 1996 was passed. It is 2020. How long again must we wait? How long again must we wait? So I want to hear from the member of Point 14. I want to hear from the member for Mayaro and the member for Maruga Tableland. I want to hear from the members on that side. Those 39. Tell us what you are so afraid of. If Tobago is allowed to blossom, to grow, to flourish, what are you so afraid of? Tobago can lead the way. Are you afraid that that is too much power in the hands of 60,000? Are you afraid that if we start to build a better standard of living for our people, that we could cut style and all, yeah? It's not about cutting style. We just want to live good. And if in the morning, my father goes into his backyard and dig Dasheen and strike gold there, and as a result, Tobago turns into $1 billion island with $1 billion economy, you think Tobagonians will get rich and switch? Some of us will, eh? Some of us will. But the majority of us, we have good values. The majority of us have good foundation. We come from good home. We come from good place. And all we've ever wanted to see was our island become its best self. I want 39 parliamentarians to explain to me why they are so afraid of seeing Tobago become its best self. Explain to us. That is the power we fight. This is not a PNM, PDP, UNC, PEP, Progressive Party, whoever else jumping up in the dance hall situation. It is a Tobago, Trinidad situation. Let us address this relationship. Let us have frank, candid, open, honest conversations. We need to understand where the fight really taking place. Tobagonians, they would want to throw up the smoke screens. They will throw up the smoke screens. But let us understand truly where we are at. There is strength in numbers, and a Tobagonian has to fight harder to be respected. That when we leave our homes and go to Trinidad, we have to fight harder to succeed. It has just been set up that way. That is how it has always been. And we want to change that. We want to level the playing field. And it is only fair that we can get the opportunity to do so. We do not want to separate from Trinidad. We love Trinidad, but we want you to love us too. We want you to love us as much as we love you. We want you to demonstrate that love to us. And we should not be begging for it, because as I said yesterday, Tobago is somebody's answered prayer. We are somebody's answered prayer. There are people who would kill to live where we live. There are people who would kill for the opportunities that we have, as little as they may be. There are people who would kill to live in a warm climate year-round. That they could walk out of their house and they could leave their front door open with their pot on the stove and walk down the road and know their neighbor will make sure the pot door burn. That we can lean outside of our windows and have conversations with our neighbors. And if I don't feel like cooking today and my neighbor cook a pot of pilau, that I could get a plate of food still. That we still living good in places. Don't mind when it comes to the politics, they could chase you. But generally, when harvest time, you can enter somebody's home as a stranger and leave as family. That is what we know in Tobago. That when your neighbor planting and green fig and digging dasheen and cassava, that you planting lettuce and tomato and cucumbers and all of these things. And when people reap, you're getting a hand of fig. And when you reap, your neighbor getting some cucumber. That is the Tobago we know. And the only thing money would do is develop us to a place where we could be comfortable. Develop us to a place where everybody in Tobago can live good. That is all we want to do. We want to live good. We want our children to live good. We want them to be able to get access to the kinds of opportunities that they are seeing their counterparts in Trinidad getting easy access to, opportunities that they take for granted on a daily basis. Let 39 parliamentarians explain to me, why don't you want the children, the youth of Tobago to have their own university? Why don't you want the people of Tobago to be able to make their own laws? We have a problem with child sexual abuse on this island. We should be able to enact stiffer penalties for crimes like that, crimes against our children and our women and the vulnerable in society. We should be able to determine those penalties. We should be able to have stiffer penalties for persons who participate in illegal poaching of our wildlife, who destroy our natural environment that we sell to others as part of our charm. Unspoiled, undiscovered, untouched, clean, green, safe and serene. We should be able to determine that we will clamp down. We will have a heavy hand on people who want to destroy the things that make us us. That we are so... The things that I want to say. We need our power. We need our powers to take care of our people. That we need to know that when we invite persons into our island, our visitors, that if crimes are perpetrated against them, that we should be able to treat with those offenders in a particular way, and we should be able to determine that. That is all we've ever asked for. The opportunity to be man and woman in our own house. That is the power we fight against, because you have the power. 39 of you. I am talking specifically to central government in Trinidad. I am leaving out the 2 Tobago seats because right now, even when they were under, even when they lay in the loving arms of thee, and you could fill in the blanks, there was no Tobago love shown to us. And even when we said, you know what, we fed up of the bad treatment on this side, we're gonna try somebody else. Hate again. So where is Tobago left? Tobago is left with the only option, which is to stand on its own. To have its voices stand on its own. And when I say stand on its own, I am not talking secession. I am not talking separation here. I'm talking Tobago voices being able to stand up in the parliament and represent Tobago. That is what I mean. That is what I simply mean. That 39 parliamentarians have to understand that they are not just dealing with an island, they are dealing with a country. And they're dealing with a country that chooses to be part of a unitary state. And that all we want are the attendance rights, responsibilities, authorities that any other country would enjoy, because we have people who live here who need to benefit from living here. And right now, only a very small percentage of Tobagonians are enjoying all the benefits of living here. We have our 1% here. We have our 1% that controls 95% of the wealth that comes into this island. And we're saying that the 99 is tired. The 99 is fed up. And the 99 wants to live good too. And we have every right to want that for ourselves. We are not asking to be millionaires. We are not asking for big houses. We are not asking for Range Rovers. We are not asking for fat bank accounts. We're not asking for private jets to Miami every other weekend. We are not asking for weekends in the Hyatt. We're not asking for that. We're asking for pipe-borne water on a regular basis. We are asking for safety and security in our communities. We are asking for opportunities for our children. That is what we are asking for. And all of that comes back to the fact that Tobago has not been allowed to become its higher self because 39 parliamentarians cannot sit and agree that Tobago is at a place in its development that we need our power, that we need to be able to make our own decisions. That is what they can't get on board with. And that is why we are asking the people of Tobago to give the Progressive Democratic Patriots a chance. We are asking you to give us this opportunity. You know why? We have tried the PNM and we have failed there. We have tried the UNC. And although we may have gotten certain things, the relationship always, in most cases, breaks down to the detriment of Tobago. History shows that. We have tried them both on more than one occasion. And none of them have brought Tobago to the place where we can say yes. We is man and woman in we own house. So we're saying that Tobago needs its independent voices in the parliament. Tobago needs its two representatives to stand up and bring the debate to the parliament. We need its two representatives to stand up and fight the power. We need its two representatives to take it to them. That's what we need. We need 39 parliamentarians in a central government in Trinidad to answer to the nation as to why Tobago cannot sort out and see about its own business. And yes, there are those of you who are going to vote on this election based on the handling of the COVID. You will say that our Prime Minister stepped up and he was very, you saw a side of him and you were really happy with what he did. And I'm not going to bash the Prime Minister. I won't do that. I'm going to say that any person who had the opportunity to be elected to sit in that chair, I am willing to bet that they would have done no differently to him. Because what we are forgetting, what we are conveniently forgetting, is that the Prime Minister has a team behind him. He has a team behind him who advises him. He has the experts behind him who will give him all the information that is required to make decisions. And all he has to do is stand up long enough and appear statesmanly long enough to reassure the people that the decisions that are being made by himself and his team are the best decisions for the country. And I believe that with the kinds of leaders that have sat in that chair, they would have done the same. That Mrs. Posad Bissessa would have stepped up and done the same. That Mr. Manning would have stepped up and done the same. That Mr. Pandey would have stepped up and done the same. That Mr. Robinson, he stepped up. He was the man who said attack with full force with a gun in his face. He stepped up. He did not have COVID. He had a coup. He stepped up and he did the same. That Mr. Chambers, that Mr. Williams, they would have done the same. I'm getting very emotional. We have good leaders. We have good people in this country. We have good people in Tobago. And all they want is the opportunity to lead this island. They want the opportunity for this island to progress and become its best self. And 39 of you are preventing that. That parties in Trinidad are preventing that. That you are using your privilege of numbers. That you are using your privilege of strength. That using your privilege of being older than us. We are 7 months old. You wave in our faces that you are 60-something years strong and the other one is about 40-something years old. We are the new kids on the block and you want to use your privilege to trample us. And we are saying to you that we are made of sterner stuff. That I'm happy when I talk to young people because they are watching all of us. And they will do what their parents never had the courage to do, which is to choose differently. They will do what my generation failed to do, which is to use our opportunities and our privilege to make this island better. They will do it. And they will do it either with our support or without our support. They are not afraid. They are bold and brave. And they will step up. And they will step out and they will make us proud and they will make us ashamed because we failed them and we continuously fail them when we make poor decisions on their behalf. When we align ourselves with parties who have nothing good in their minds for us, who have nothing good in their hearts for us. And I'm saying that I am a parent. I have 2 children that I love with every fiber of my being, and I will choose differently for them. I will choose differently for them. I'm asking all the parents out there, think about your children. Think about the kind of future that they want. I'm talking to my Tobagonian parents here because we know the foundation where we came from. I'm gonna talk the things this morning. We tie out goat and sheep and we tote water on our heads. And we told ourselves that we will not let our children do those things because that was indicative of poverty and lack of opportunities. So we worked hard to provide for them so that they wouldn't have to do these things. They wouldn't have to tie out a goat and they wouldn't have to tote water. We did all of these things. We worked hard to get the comforts, to bring the comforts home to them. But you know what we failed to do? We failed to teach them the values. Because the victories in the journey, it wasn't about the water. It wasn't about the goat. It was about teaching us discipline. It was about teaching us to care for something, to commit to something. It was about teaching us values. It was about teaching us integrity and honesty and hard work. That is what it was about. It wasn't about the water. Yes, we needed the water. It wasn't about the goat. Yes, the goat had to go and eat. But the bigger lesson that our parents were teaching us without saying to us, without saying the lessons to us is about getting up 7 o'clock every morning to do the thing. Discipline. It was about learning patience when the goat dragging you away on the rope. Tolerance. It was about doing the job every single day, whether you liked it or not, because there was a reason behind it. Productivity, production. That is what we were being taught. But we forgot that. We forgot that, and when we made children, we said, you know what? They will not tie out the goat and they will not tote the water because we'll have indoor plumbing and we will buy almond milk. And what we did is that we took away the experiences that taught the lessons, that taught the values. And our young people are bereft of examples. Our young people are bereft of foundation because we didn't bury the navel string. We didn't do it. We didn't bury the navel string, so they don't believe in much. That is why they are so influenced by outside factors. That is why the music that they listen to influences them heavily, because we did not bury their navel string. We took away the experiences. That is why we couldn't teach the lessons. And we are feeling it for today, and we have the opportunity to turn things around. We have the opportunity to fix things. Tobago needs the opportunity to fix its house, because when your neighbor house on fire, you need to wet yours. And Trinidad house on fire. Trinidad's house is on fire. Tobago just wants the opportunity to wet ours. We want to wet our house. We want to cover our children. We are praying people. But there's a time for prayer and there's a time for action. We pray and then we fight. And this is Fight the Power Fridays. I am Tasha Grace Boris, PDP candidate for Tobago West. I'm asking for the opportunity to fight the power on your behalf. Because the power lies in the hands of 39. Doesn't matter what color they wear. It's all the same. Don't for 1 second think that one loves you more than the other. They have demonstrated that they have no love for us. Don't be fooled. 2 against 39. That is where we start. 2 versus 39. But we need to shift the balance of power. 2 needs to equal 39. They need to no longer sleep on Tobago. They need to stop sleeping on our wealth. They need to stop sleeping on our intelligence. They need to stop sleeping on our strength. They need to stand and recognize and respect us as equals. That's what they need to do. We're not talking secession here. We're not talking separating here. We're talking about respecting us. Respecting us for our ability to make decisions on our own. We will work with anybody who wants to work with us. But if you do not want to work with us, you are against us. That is what it is. It's the simple fact. 39 parliamentarians in Trinidad don't have to give one listening to ear to us, but we need Tobagonians to know that is where the game is taking place. Let Tobagonians find out exactly what you think of us. Don't come with the fancy words and the slick talk this time around. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. We don't have the luxury of time right now. Our children are watching. They are waiting. They are hoping that we do differently. So let's have the hard conversation, Trinidad. 39 parliamentarians, tell us what you're afraid of. Tell us why you are so afraid of Tobago taking its place next to you, not behind you. Are you afraid that we would pass you? Are you afraid that we would be better than you? That is it that what you're afraid of? I would think that you would be happy if it is that we are no longer a burden to the treasury. Because that's what is said. I listen to some Trinidadians who talk with their Trinidad privilege. And they say that Tobago is a burden to the treasury. We didn't ask to be in this union. We didn't ask. We were forced. This was a forced marriage. A forced child marriage. And that child is an adult now. And we want to choose to stay in this because we have chosen to stay in it. But we need to revise the terms and conditions under which we choose to stay in this. We are no longer a ward. We are your equal. We are your partner. We bring something to the table, something very valuable to the table that you do not want to let go. And if that is the case, then respect us. Respect what we bring to the table. Respect our strengths. Respect our history. Respect our culture. Respect our traditions. Respect the people who we choose as our voices, whoever they may be. Give them the opportunity to speak for us. Respect their offices. That a sitting prime minister can tell a sitting chief secretary, go and sit down. And he goes and sits in a corner. Like little Jack Horner. That was a sad day for me as a Tobagonian, because that showed me how very little respect they have for us. If the highest office in this land has no respect for the highest office on this land, that is what that showed me. 39 parliamentarians in Trinidad, I'm talking to you, whoever you may be, because a number of you are vying for that work down there. And I want you to think about something in the midst of all your canvassing and campaigning and politicking. That when you take your oath of office some days after the 10th of August, I want you to have Tobago on your mind. That I want you to make a conscious decision that whenever we get the opportunity, because I am speaking our victory into being, that we will be the two representatives for Tobago, East and West in the parliament, that whenever we bring the people of Tobago's business to that parliament, that you would think about an island that simply wants the opportunity to become its best self. And that if you as a representative for Point Fortin or Arima or Diego Martin or Mayaro or Manzanilla or Lavantil or Port of Spain North and South, that if you got the opportunity to elevate the people in your constituency, that you would fight for it and you would take it if it's offered to you. I want you to think about Tobago and the fact that we want the opportunity to elevate our people, and we will fight for it and we will take it. That is what I want you to think about. So when it's put to a debate, that when you stand up, what you don't want for yourself, you can't want for somebody else. And if you are agreeing that Tobago should be continuously held back, that you are saying in essence that your constituency should suffer the same fate, because you cannot want for Tobago what you don't want for yourself. You cannot do that. Explain to me, your future parliamentarians, 39 of you are planting the seed today. Think about a Tobago that can lead the way. Think about a Tobago in its own space that could change the way that we conduct our affairs. Think about a Tobago that becomes the hallmark for the provision of government services. Think about a Tobago where you can get your passport in 3 days. Think about a Tobago where the turnaround time for processing of anything is a week or 2 days, depending on what it is. Think about a Tobago that collects all its taxes in Tobago for everything, whether it be taxes from businesses and taxes from our oil and gas that lies in our territorial waters. Think about a Tobago that has the opportunity to elevate our way of life to first world status. And Trinidad, we can lead the way. Trinidad, we can be the example that you need at this time. Trinidad, we can be the example that your communities need at this time. So that when we talk about community development, we're talking about ensuring that we create economic centers in each community so that persons could live, work, and thrive in their community spaces. We are talking about decentralizing power out of the hands of the THA. Victimization has to be a thing of the past. We cannot hold contracts over people's heads for votes. And for those of you who are doing that right now, stop it. Stop it. That is not your role. That is not your power. Do not forget that birds that fly high must come down to the ground. What air meet your air pass here, don't do people that. Be fair supervisors wherever you are. Be fair administrators wherever you are. I'm talking to my Tobago people now. Because politics does bring out the victimization. You're forcing people to campaign for you, using government funds using government resources. Stop it. The government belongs to the people, not a party. The government is not the PNM. The government is not the UNC. The government is the people. Taxpayers' money. Stop it. We didn't have victimization in Tobago before. Stop it. You need to stop it. Be fair to people. Do your jobs without fear or favor. Do your jobs. Don't allow any politician to dictate to you how to treat people. You know better. Do your jobs. The foundation is respect and manners, and you could only go up from there. And if you are victimizing people because they choose different politically to you, then you're a devil. You are a devil. And you do not deserve your position. Stop it. You have time to turn away from your evil ways. Move, Satan. Let the people pass. Let the people pass. Let the people pass. This is not about party. This is about people. We put the people before the politics. The politics has its time. This is about the people. I'm going back to my 39 in Trinidad. This is Fight the Power Fridays. My name is Tasha Grace Boris. This is the Progressive Democratic Patriots. I'm showing you what we're fighting for, what we're fighting against. We don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against powers, principalities, and evils in high and low places. That is what we fight. I'm talking to the 39 in Trinidad because we have 1 month again to the election. Some of you will win and some of you would lose, but for those of you who win, think about your communities, your constituencies achieving their higher self, and ask yourself if you want to contribute to keeping a fellow constituency and a fellow island down. What you don't want for yourself, you can't want for somebody else. Because it is our intention to bring the people's business to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. It is our intention to have 39 of you, because the 2 votes, they have 2 votes to start with. Because Tobago East and West want autonomy.
Correct.
It has 2 votes to start with. We need 3/5 majority. 39 of you need to explain to 60,000 people in Tobago, what are you afraid of? And if you have no real reason to be afraid, if you have no excuse, then that means you will support us. It wouldn't be about party. It would be about people. It would be ensuring that a Tobago people can chart their own destiny. It would be about ensuring a Tobago people can become their best selves, and it's as simple as that. It's the job of parliamentarians to make the best decisions in the interests of the country as a whole. And I see no reason why giving Tobagonians their power is against the best interests of the country as a whole. Because it allows Tobago the opportunity to bring all our resources together, all our best and brightest minds, a coalition of the competent and the willing. This ain't about party. This is about island. This is about country. It gives Tobago the opportunity to bring together a coalition of the competent and the willing wherever they may be. To build our nation. To have a Tobago that can pull its weight. To have a Tobago that can lead the way. That can have a Tobago that can be a safe haven. Because a caller the other day said the best thing about Trinidad and Tobago is Tobago, and he was right. I'm not boasting and I'm not vain. It's the truth. Because Trinidad has a lot of fixing to do. Your societies are broken down. Your communities are crying out. Your crime is out of control.
And very
you
divided.
have a lot of fixing to do. But Tobago could be paradise for you. For those of you who do not see a life in Trinidad any longer, for those of you who are fearful, for those of you who can't breathe, Tobago is paradise next door. And we have to create a Tobago where all Trinbagonians can live and thrive and be happy. And if Tobago leads the way, what is so wrong with that? What is so wrong with a Tobago that goes out ahead and is able to stretch our hand to our sister island in Trinidad and say, come with us. Let us help you. Let us show you what Tobago love looks like. Let us show you what your communities should do or can do to heal themselves. There's a lot of work to be done. Let us show you. Let us show you this sweet Tobago love, this sweet Tobago love, sweet like Kaiser ball. Let us come down there and plant our seeds of love that they can sprout and bloom in Trinidad once again. Let us remind you guys what love looks like so that you can start to heal your island, that you can start to heal your communities, that you can start to equitably distribute your resources so that one section of your population does not feel marginalized and disenfranchised. Let us show you what an empowered people looks like. That is all we have asked for. And it's not too much to ask. Because we want to take care of you. I am speaking from a place of power. Because Tobago people have to understand the power that we have. We want to take care of you, Trinidad. We want to show you what good governance can look like. We want to show you what an accountable THA looks like. They had 20 years there and they made a mess of things. We want to tell you that there are people on this island who still want accountability and who want to remain accountable to the people all the time, every time. Trinidad, let's show you how it can be done. Let us show you. Let us show you. Let us show you that Tobago can be the example that you need right now. Miss McCleshy, you are welcome to disagree. That's fine. Yeah? And I'm talking unity, I'm not talking separation. And I will say it again. Because I'm not saying that Trinidad does not have some good things, but I'm saying that Tobago can be paradise and Tobago is still heaven. And right now, the best part of Trinidad and Tobago is Tobago. Let me say it again. Because when people want to relax and take a load off, they think about Tobago. They come to Tobago. They lay in our nylon pool and the legend behind the nylon pool, which is that it takes years off of your life. They drive through our main ridge. They can sleep with their windows and doors open with no burglar proofing. Because Tobago is still relatively safe. Tobago is a safe haven. And we are saying that Tobago can be the example that this nation needs. That with a Tobago that is self-actualized, with a Tobago that has taken its place side by side, we can be that beacon that leads the way. The bamboo bullifay leads the way. We're saying that Tobago can be that example that this nation needs. That we can show you, as I said, what good governance looks like. We can show you what accountability looks like. We can show you what persons who respect one another in their space for their choices looks like. We can show you what an all-inclusive society looks like. We can show you what world-class healthcare can look like. We can show you what a world-class education system can look like. We can show you what world-class sporting academies can look like. We can show you what a people who are happy can look like. We want the chance to show you what the real Tobago looks like. Do not waste another chance and another opportunity for one part of our population to at least live good. Don't do with that. Trust me, there are Tobagonians here, myself included, who love Trinidad. I love Trinidad. I love Trinidad for its vibrance. I love Trinidad for its melting pot of cultures. I love Trinidad. I love Begonians. I love Trinis. Trinis does lime different. I love Trinidad. But Trinidad, you have to love yourself.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Trinidad, you have to love yourself. And you have to get real about fixing the things that are going wrong in Trinidad. But while you are fixing the things that are going wrong in Trinidad, do not prevent Tobago from fixing itself. We have different issues. We have different struggles. We have different history. And we both need the opportunity to start to fix what is going wrong on either of our islands. Give us the chance to do so. 39 parliamentarians, you have an opportunity to give Tobago the tools to fix its problems once and for all. You have the opportunity to give 60,000 people their respect in their own space. That is the chance that you have. The Constitution is written in such a way that 2 seats could never pass a bill or change the Constitution. But we're saying with 2 seats, we can bring the conversation to the Parliament. We're saying with 2 seats that we could ask 39 parliamentarians to state their position on Tobago and Tobago business. That is what we're saying. And we're saying with 2 seats, if we cannot show them that Tobago is ready, that Tobago is willing, Tobago has been waiting to put in the work to build our island, and they are not willing to support us, tell us that, and we will explore all other options that we have. Tell us. We cannot make informed decisions if we do not have information. So tell us. Look us in our collective faces and tell us, what are you so afraid of if Tobago is given its full autonomy? Tell us that you do not want better for us. Tell us that. At least level with us. At least be honest with us. The time for honesty is now. The time for the hard, open, frank conversations is now. Yes, I represent the Progressive Democratic Patriots. Yes, that is the vehicle upon which I am trying to get elected to be your voice. And once I'm elected, the very day after, I put away my PDP jersey. I put away my PDP paraphernalia. I put away my PDP flag because I no longer represent PDP. I represent Tobago. I represent all of you who supported me, all of you who voted against me, and I also represent those of you who did not vote at all. And I want to put this finally in the atmosphere. There's this school of thought that people who do not vote should not say anything about what is taking place because they did not choose. They did not exercise their franchise, so that they have no right. I want to put that notion to rest this morning. Because the man who did not choose is the man who is in the best position to hold all of us accountable. He is not beholden to any one side over another. And that is why it's very important to have those voices as well. Those voices for whatever reason, whether it be religious reasons, whether it be personal reasons, because people could not vote, not because of party, but because they just don't resonate with the persons who have offered themselves up, and that is fair. But they, more than ever, have a responsibility to hold all sides accountable. That is where they come in. There will be a section of the population that will never vote. But don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a voice. You do. And you're welcome to exercise that voice at any point in time, because when somebody is elected to office, The oath that they take means that they represent you. They still have to come and hear your interests. They still have to come and listen to you. This is Fight the Power Fridays. Tobago, understand where your power lies. Our power is in our ability, at the end of the day, I believe, to go back to the things that make us Tobagonians, our values, our foundation, our family ties. Let us not be divided by politics. Because the fight is not for party. The fight is for the people. The fight is for our children. The fight is for our generations that are yet to come. The fight is for us to put in the work to ensure that they can reach further than we did. The fight is to plant the seed today so that they can eat the fruit tomorrow. That is the fight. The fight is to make sure that if anything happens to us, natural disaster or otherwise, that we can survive and that we can thrive and that we can grow better and bigger and stronger. That is the fight. Let us not forget the true fight. The true fight is for our voices to be heard, and not just heard, but respected. That is the fight. That no prime minister can come to Tobago and tell our version of our prime minister to sit in a corner. And he does so without standing up for himself and standing up for the island that he represents. That is the fight. The fight for them to change their perceptions of us. The fight for them to understand the privilege that they have and that they don't hold it over our heads. That is the fight. That is the fight, people. That the fight is for us to be given the opportunity to show this country that great things come out of Tobago. That good people live in Tobago. That people who love their country come from Tobago. And we want to see our country, Trinidad and Tobago, grow. We want to see our country, Trinidad and Tobago, prosper. That is what we want to prove. We want to prove it to ourselves, and we want to prove it to you. But you need to give us the chance. 39 parliamentarians in Trinidad. Read about Tobago's history. Read about the Belmana riots. Read about Mr. Robinson. Take off your party glasses for 1 second. Read about Tobago history. Read everything that you could get your hands on in this time to understand really where Tobago people are coming from, why we feel the way we do, and why we feel that it's time enough that we put this matter to rest, why we feel so strongly about our island, and why we still want to remain committed to this partnership, but we want to remain committed to this partnership on our terms, on terms that are favorable to both entities in the partnership. That we are yearning to take our place. That we are yearning to stand up next to you and hold your hand and walk into the future as equal partners in this partnership. Understand that that is all that we want. Understand that that is all that we have been asking for. And as I said, we are a long-suffering people. We will not burn tires in the road. We will not protest in the streets. But we would use every legal mean available to us to register our voices. August 10th is but 1 month away. Think about the kind of relationship that you want us to have post August 10th. Think about the fact that Tobago could be one of the biggest economic drivers that this country could ever see. once we make the investments in the island that need to be made, the investments by way of capital investment, the investments by way of granting us our rights, authorities, privileges, and powers, the investments by way of investing in our people, that Tobago can lead the way. And Tobago can be the example that this country needs to take us forward. That we could show you what real Tobago love looks like. That the Tobago sweetheart woman and the Tobago sweetheart man, we will show you how much love we do have. That we have love to share. That we can show you what accountability in governance looks like. That accountability at the level of the THA, we can show you what that looks like. Because we want to put in the Tobago House of Assembly a bunch of vibrant young people led by Mr. Farley Augustine, our deputy political leader, who have all the deepest love for the island that anybody else can have. That they are committed to being accountable to the people. That they are committed to bringing together that coalition of the competent and the willing. We want to show you that. We want to be the example. We want to be the beacon. We want to be the light. I want to leave God's richest blessings with all of you as you go about your day today. We will be in the constituency of Buku Mount Pleasant. We are supposed to be in Lowlands this afternoon. I cannot wait to be on the ground, to meet with you, to converse with you, to just chat, even to get chased out of your yards. Because I'm taking all of that. Good. We have Mr. Duke in the house. He's just coming. I think he's going to take over as I'm done. We can't wait to meet you. And I'm taking the chase too. Chase we. But know that when I'm your area representative, I'm coming back in your yard. And this time I'm hoping that you're willing to work with me and to work with us to make a better Tobago, to make a Tobago that we all deserve, that we all could live good in. That is what we want, and that is all that we fight for. Have a blessed day. Thank you for welcoming me into your homes and your offices and your cars. My name is Tasha Grace Boris, PDP candidate for Tobago West. And I will see you next week from 7 on Monday on the Street 91.9 FM for another edition of whatever it is Mondays. I'm not sure what Monday is going to be, but I know Monday is going to be good. It's going to be fire. And I look forward to seeing with you and conversing with you in your communities and wherever I meet you. And those of you out there who are on the roads, I pray traveling mercies to you. And I hope that you guys have a great weekend. The beaches are open. Take advantage of the good weather. You know, I'm on the campaign trail, so my days are long and hard. But I'm committed. As I say, 1 month away to election 2020, I will continue to show you what I can give. I will continue to show you what I offer to you. And all I ask is for the opportunity to be your rep, to be your voice, to be your fighter. Take care and have a blessed day.
Street 91.9 FM, Tobago.
Listen to double M when I'm you want me to try to hold it back? Tell me, baby, do you like it like that when I rock with you? Ooh, girl, let me take you to Tobago Loco when the sun go low. We could go and go, girl, go. I'm talking hours and non-stop jam. You is a gem, let me take your hand, just come and go, girl, go. Say, girl, why you do me that? Make big man get a heart attack, girl. The way you look back when you rock back, I feel away when you whine so pretty wine. Flash me a pretty smile. What's on your pretty mind? Tell me, baby, say can you break me out of my bubble? I see in trouble, baby, bubble, cause some trouble. Break me out of my bubble. I see in trouble, baby, bubble. I'm in trouble. You make me reach for the ceiling. You give me life, new meaning. I'll take a walk with you, swim in the ocean too, girl. And I go take it to the top of the hill up there. Then I go take you right back down to play under the moon. So girl, I hope you don't leave too soon. Let me take you to Tobago Loco when the sun go low. Girl, we could go and go, girl, go. I'm talking hours and non-stop jam. You is a gem, let me take your hand, just come and go, girl, go. Girl, why you do me that? Make big man get a heart attack, girl. The way you look back when you rock back, I feel away when you whine so pretty. Show me that pretty wine. Flash me that pretty smile. What's on your pretty mind? Tell me, baby, say can you break me out of my bubble? I see in trouble, baby, bubble, cause some trouble. Break me out of my bubble. I see in trouble, baby, bubble. I'm in trouble.
Travis World. I say ready, girl. Second star say ready, girl. Travis World, pretty girls. Oh, girl, you sweet and thick, just like a tin of condensed milk, Girl, cock up your bumper, girl, do this for me. Boom. Girl, you know your best and your body look good. Come in our room, girl, boom. You know that the best and the body look good. Come in our room, girl, boom. You are the master whining. Woman, you full of niceness. How when you come in our room and perform, just perform for me, girl. You are the master whining. Woman, you full of niceness. How when you come in our room and perform, just perform for me,
Girl split like a Kit Kat. And when you tick tock, no long talk and no kind of chit chat. Bumper a flick back, don't study them cause you're hot.
Girl, when you wind down low, show me your skills. When you know about Netflix and chill, bumper spin just like a drill. So cock up your bumper, girl, do this to me. Boom. Girl, you know your best and your body look good. Come in our room, girl, boom. You know that your best and your body look good. Come in our room, girl, boom. You are the master whining. Woman, you full of niceness. How when you come in our room and perform, just perform for me, girl. You are the master whining. Woman, you full of niceness. How when you come in our room and perform, just perform for me, girl. Come in our room for me, please. How when you go down on the knees. You have the kind of wine that I need. How when you set the bumper free. Roll your waist. Put them other girl in the place. I don't know your number and I don't know your name. Pack up your bumper, girl, do this for me. Boom. Girl, you know your best and your body look good. Come in our room, girl, boom. You know that your best and your body look good. Come in our room, girl, boom. You are the master whining. Woman, you full of niceness. How when you come in our room and perform, just perform for me, girl. You are the master whining. Woman, you full of niceness. How condensed milk. Cock up your bumper, cock up your bumper. Girl, you sweet and thick. Hot in a condensed milk. Hot in a condensed milk.
Funny how the stations claim to be number one when they're actually number two. The Street 919 FM Tobago, the real number one radio station.
I wanna wine it.